What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 112 of Valleytown. I'm ChanManV, and joining me today is Noxious, who went catatonic on me for a second there. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Doing good. Been looking at some of the Hearthstone subreddit topics that came up. It seems like there's a lot of movement in the past 2 days compared to, I think, what happened over the past week.
Yeah, and Heroic Brawl just zooming up right now. You know, the classic tracking Heroic Brawl records or whatever it is. It's like crazy. Yeah. But I want to welcome back The3Rat. I feel like you're here like every week now, man. So we love having you. So pleasure having you back again, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second week in a row. We'll see how long this goes for. But I enjoy being on the show. So.
He's just ready to break the streak, right? Ready to get kicked off of here, right?
It's good though, because you're like for one of the guests that we have. Oftentimes when we bring guests on, they don't talk as much, right? Like you are very easygoing with the talking, so it's really simple to get you like invested in a topic and getting your thoughts about something. It is true. Sometimes, man, it takes everything. So it's honestly a really refreshing thing.
No, definitely Rat is not going to have a shortage of opinions, so that's why we love him so much. But we got a lot to talk about today. It's been a pretty busy week, surprisingly, since there hasn't really been that much news come out for the expansion this last week. But we've had a lot of stuff going on, which has been pretty fun. So we'll probably start off with some Heroic Brawl talk, and then, of course, cover some of the things going on, global games. Ben's rap, of course, is being crazy this week. Then we'll go talk some decks. It's been a while since we talked some decks, so I brought a deck just that I thought would be interesting to maybe cover. Maybe you can play in the Heroic Brawl if you guys are going to do that tonight. And then my arena journey, or it's me starting my arena journey, and maybe just talking a little bit about that. Mekkatorque's Workshop's back. We've still got lots of cards, so we're gonna try to get a few more of them, up and on the show and talk about it a little bit. And then Q&A, got a good number of questions too. So I get all the questions and all the cards, guys. So I try to get as many as I can, but we definitely have some backlog. So be patient. Hopefully you'll see your cards in the upcoming future. All right, let's talk some. Oh, actually, the first thing I had was news. Why don't we talk about some of the Journey to Ngoro news that's happened in the last week? Mike Dinesh started off the week with an interview he did, and he gave a few more details. Some of these details we already know, but let's see. This was actually with an interview with Tempo Storm, Sean at Tempo Storm. So I just want to make sure we credit him for all of this. But some of the things he announced was that there was at least one more card that's going to interact with Death Rattle minions, or works with Death Rattle minions. What do you think that is, guys? Any idea? Like, I mean, I hope it's not +1/+1 or anything like that. Like, please, please, not that.
I'm guessing like copying, shuffling, making everything Death Rattle in your deck. Like, imagine Mistcaller, right?
Ooh.
6 mana, play a minion, give a specific Death Rattle to everything in your deck.
Kind of like Soul the Forest.
I'm saying yay for that. Yeah, like a massive Soul the Forest. I would love to see something like that to an extent.
Okay. What else could it be? I'm trying to think. I mean, double your Death Rattle. I mean, we've kind of had that in the past.
Well, it's got to be something that makes them like discouraged. I feel like to have Sylvanas alongside of it.
Yeah.
So maybe like activate a Death Rattle in your hand or something of this nature. Like
Sylvanas going bye-bye, dude. At least in the standard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're taking it out of standard, maybe to make room for this card. So
okay.
Maybe like a 2-mana spell that says activate a Death Rattle minion in your hand.
Fang Death? A minion in your hand. That would be badass. See?
Oh, okay.
I would dig that. That's a very good idea, actually. Yeah. Design-wise, that would be
For a second, Noxious thought that I forgot that Fang Death existed.
Oh, God.
That was like, Fang Death, anyone? Okay, yeah.
No, I tried that card so many times. Man, always disappointing, man. Totally disappointing. That would be great for Hunter, though. If it was a card in your hand, and I mean, you could trigger Death Rattles in your hand. Holy crap, you could fill the board with just rats and hyenas and
random Death Rattle, not
like
specific ones. Then you need to decide which ones you want to run and which ones you don't want to run, and
it
kind of balances it out. I feel like I mean, like if it was a random Death Rattle in your hand.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. Actually.
Then you need to play like your cheaper Death Rattles before you can use the effect, so you can't just go like, unless you only have high main, you can't just be like
oh my god. The guy's like, I play Lock and Load, come at me, bro. He plays nothing. but high cost death rattles and lock and load.
Death rattle seems to be a theme for Hunter. I mean, you can kind of say that over time since we had Princess and we had Feign Death and everything, but I feel like it's becoming more and more clear. It's becoming the foundation for it. I think is starting to set up more and more too. I was even messing around with Forlorn Stalker like last week sometime, and surprisingly, it's not crazy bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
It's actually not terrible.
Seems,
it's not great.
It's definitely not great. Yeah,
it's not great because there's so many 3-drops anyways. But it's I don't know. The concept of buffing death rattles is in some ways better than the grimy goon stuff that they do have in Hunter. So I was just messing around with it. It's interesting. Let's see, what else do we got here? We've got elementals are our focus. They're important, cool, and kind of combining this. And Yongwu actually was giving an interview too that he alluded to elementals being there will be more synergistic elemental things that are more than just +1/+1. So like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I guess is that kind of like along the same lines as the death rattle stuff. Nothing that we didn't know. Elementals we knew would be a big part of this, but it sounds like it'll be even more so from a standpoint of like maybe parasitic and that sort of thing. What's another thing? Quests can be triggered at any point. I guess we already knew that.
Right, the moment you complete the requirement for the quest is going to trigger instantly, and you're going to be able to get the rewards. There's not been too much information on Mike Donet's side. I feel like most of it came from Yongwu's.
Yeah,
new information.
What did he? Yongwu also mentioned that Elise would be back. Not a reprint of the old Elise Starseeker, but more like a Deathwing reprint. You know, him coming back, her coming back, probably with a different title. I don't know what it's gonna be. Elise, Elemental Seeker, or Dino Seeker,
Let's do
something
it
like that. Yeah, but she's gonna be back, and she's gonna have a new ability too. So. That's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense now after seeing her in the video. Everybody was wondering, what? You know, isn't she getting retired? But apparently none of the other League of Explorers will be back. It's just going to be Elise.
Well, was that... So I have a question for you two. Like, do you think... Because I would agree with the idea that Elise was the most pure fun explorer that we had in that expansion. Like, Finley was fine. It was competitive. Bran was as well.
Yeah.
Reno as well. But I would argue that Elise was clearly the made-to-be fun card. That never, like, it's not competitive play, but if you're gonna bring something back with a spin, I think that's the only way really that you can go super wild and maintain the identity of the card, right?
Yeah, what would be the spin though? I mean, the legendary was great. Like, you're right. I feel like Elise was one of those cards that just satisfy those people like myself that just love greed. You know, just love that feeling of getting, you know, just the crazy wacky cards at the end in a big way. So I don't know how you would spin that. Yeah,
probably like shuffle dinosaurs into your deck, replace your deck with dinosaurs, and then you just keep drawing them. I don't know. I wouldn't mind it. There's a lot of ways you can make her fun.
It's definitely like Elise Starseeker is like definitely a very unique effect. It's like hard to replicate in terms of what it actually accomplishes within the game. But I do like the idea that they're bringing back a character that's kind of iconic, and they keep bringing it back. Like a lot of other card games do the same thing where they release like characters that you can attach yourself to, and then they re-release them over and over and over and over and over again.
Jace, Garruk, oh my god.
Magic
the Gathering does that so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have cards called Planeswalkers, and they tend to be cards that are good enough to see play very intentionally, and they kind of allow players to attach themselves somewhat to the character and give them like some relatability.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, some more things are going to be coming. Oh, a turtle race too. Some kind of turtle tribe-ish type of
turtle
thing.
people.
Turtle people.
They call it
whatever.
turtle people.
Yeah, turtle people.
I won't argue with turtle people.
Okay.
I like it.
They're actually called turtle people, and
well, I mean, they presented to the. Surely they have a name. I don't know.
I wasn't sure if there's like a WoW thing. It's like turtle people.
No, they don't exist in WoW as far as I'm aware. So this is off canon completely. Blizzard is finally into the realm now where they got, Hearthstone's grown enough that it doesn't have to borrow art pieces from the WoW TCG. They can actually just get custom art for the game. We've seen that happen since League of Explorers, and now they're going full mad. They've created a race now, so that we're getting turtle people. The craziest it got in World of Warcraft was something like the Kaluak, which were effectively Tuskar. Like they just look like nothing. We've seen them in Hearthstone, but the turtle people are going to be new, and for all we know, that might actually show up in World of Warcraft. So it might be the the spin-off that becomes the spinner. Like there's a chance.
Hearthstone dictates what's in World of Warcraft. That's pretty
It could happen. Yeah. I would not be surprised.
I'm not holding out on them creating new artwork though.
Wow.
They have some here and there, but it's, as someone who has, I like went back after I played Hearthstone for a year and sold off all of my like Warcraft cards in bulk. Like I never really played the game a ton, but I did get the packs as prizes for winning in other card games because they had loot cards in them. The loot cards were really expensive and you could sell the loot cards. So I had a ton left over and I sold them in bulk and I organized them. And I remember just going through it and just seeing all of the cards that are in Hearthstone because it's really just like, more than 90% of the art is borrowed.
Oh yeah, completely. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I guess.
But here's a question for an expansion as specific as dinosaurs. I mean, how much is there to borrow in the World of Warcraft? That's the reason why I'm going. Like, I expect them to do something a bit crazier going forward because there's really nothing. In the existing pool of art for dinosaur themed cards. Or at least there's very little.
King Crush and Raptors. That's about it.
It's not that I mind them using borrowed art. It's just that like the more stuff you're using that's borrowed is the less you're doing that's new.
Yeah, but for me, it's not that big. I mean, for me, I feel like if they need to, they will. And I mean, they have plenty of artists there. I don't think that should be that big of a problem making that tiny of a portrait, for however many cards. I'm excited to see it though. I think everything I've seen so far art-wise has been great for Journey to Un'Goro.
The Un'Goro art pieces look very unique. The dinosaurs actually look really awesome. They look cartoony. They've got the Warcraft art style to them, which is not something that you see. It's very unique, right? The Warcraft cartoony style that they've built Hearthstone on, and the dinosaurs look like that more. If you look at Bloodfen Raptor, right, doesn't look very Hearthstone-y. King Crush does to an extent, but not like it's still missing the extra push. And if you look at the trailer, these dinosaurs are just absolutely Hearthstone. Like it's in your face.
Yeah, totally. Okay, why don't we move on and talk about some of the news, especially today, where we have, I don't actually have it on this topic bar because it was pretty new, but we have Heroic Brawl that was released today. And so Heroic Brawl is just out again. It's before an expansion. I think it's kind of the same timing we had last time. So I guess a good way to try to get some gold back before having to buy packs or whatnot. Last time it was a success. Is there the same limitations? I mean, is there no limit on this again? I forget. I didn't get a chance to see the specifics of the Heroic Brawl this time around.
It looks like the same to me.
I haven't gotten to do it yet.
I haven't done it yet, but from what I've looked at and what I've heard, it's the exact same as it was last time. There was a mention a while back, which did not come to fruition, where they said they would make the next Tavern Brawl be a Heroic Brawl a wild format, which some people loved the idea of. I'm a part of those, and some people did not. And they eventually reverted to the idea of just a standard brawl. So now we're back into the current meta game in a competitive format, and it turns out the novelty factor isn't really there aside from the top level players. And some people pointed out, rightly so, the timing was, of course, before the expansion, so they want to leech all the gold out of the economy. So we trap ourselves into having nothing, then we have to spend money to buy cards, which, you can spin it that way as a narrative if you want to. But frankly, that is the type of brawl that would be nice if we got it more frequently. Just this type of competitive brawl. If not, replacing the regular brawl, I think, is a bit of a pain for some of the more casual players, but it would be nice to have the option to play a similar game mode, not at all times, but frequently enough.
I'm okay for it to be just consistently, on the same just the same periodic, whether it's like right before another expansion every single time or whatnot. As long as we know, and it's not just like completely random, I think it's
Right.
nice to look forward to it. You can plan around it. Like if you're a streamer or whatever, you can get your stream ready for it. But I do hope that they put a limit on it, because that was the thing that was, we talked about last time, that it was just on the show last time it was around, and I ended up initially thinking, man, I wish they could have just done it more, and then they ended up changing it right after the 5. But then in the end, I felt like there should be a limit, and maybe the limit's 10, but I felt like it was cool to have, like people feel like every single run was just, very, very. There's a sense of urgency, for every single one of those, because you knew
there's
you
a cap on it, but
it's like 100.
It's so
though.
big,
It's
you'll
like
never
ridiculous.
get there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't count. I mean, I think it should be like maybe 8 or something like that. But 5 was too low. I agree. 5 was too low because people would finish it in like a day. But I think 10 is fine, and it kind of gives the whole community a chance too to get some spotlight too. So because all the big streamers will get all the views on the first day, and then maybe if some people wait to do their runs after those guys are done, and then so you have different streams that are kind of highlighted throughout the week, and it would help the general community overall if they did something like that. Otherwise, right now, I remember after they made it to 100, everybody was just doing it over and over, and then just kind of lost its appeal very, very quickly.
Yeah, without seeing like the Blizzard side of things, like I don't know how much money they make more when it's unlimited or what have you. Like I'm not exactly sure. Noxious seems to think it's a lot, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much more it is. But I think that having it before an expansion, as people like to critique it, like Noxious said, and paint the narrative that it's a gold dump, I would challenge that thinking with when do you want them to release it? After the set? It's still going to take money for you to participate. You spent all your gold on the set. So it's like, when do you really want them to release it? Oh, do you want them to release it then like in the middle, in between sets? And it's like, okay, well, that's when you don't have any gold. Really, like you still have a little amount of gold because you just started saving up and you've been buying packs the whole time. Like the way it works is, the reality is you're probably, this type of expense would probably always be like quite a big deal, I guess, in terms of a gold sink, no matter when you released it. But to your point, ChanManV, about limiting runs, they could limit the runs to, let's say, 10, and then they could even maybe publish who had the best average over 10 runs.
Exactly. That's nice too.
And they can do stuff like that and engage the community in, I'd like to say, more meaningful ways with this game mode. So
I mean, but that's just, they could do that post and that would probably be fine. But I'm just talking about even live, and just even from the standpoint of streamers or just whoever, right? Like it just lost its nuance so quickly last time, because people would just, people that have a ton of gold, they just keep going. Like they're streamers and they just keep going. And you just saw the viewer counts, even for those streamers, just kind of go down, because it just became, oh, they're just like playing arena. It's like they're just laddering. It's just, oh no, they're spending 1,000 to enter in this brawl. It just lost that appeal. And I think it loses it because there's just essentially unlimited mounts that you can do. Like when I watched Tyler the first time around, I was like, oh man, Tyler got to 11. Oh my gosh. Right. And then he like did it again and got to 12, and then he was like done. Maybe he got a couple of them to 12 and he was done. And then, it was pretty epic. And then all of a sudden they released it the, day after, and then he was just like doing it over and over and over again. And then he was, back to his normal view count. And yeah, that was lame. That kind of sucked. And I know they can make more money off it, but I just feel, there's more to be gained than just the dollar amounts there. Like you can actually grow it a little bit.
I'll put it this way, right? Like the guy who compulsively buys arena runs at $2 a pop because he never has gold.
Yeah,
that guy's the same guy who's going to enter this tournament with whatever deck he's got on hand and pay the full money price as opposed to the gold, because there's a potential massive reward.
I'm just
not sure. Like I said, I had to see the numbers from Blizzard, but I think
we have to. But I can infer it from other games. And
as far as your point, ChanManV, someone like Tyler could play on all 3 servers, so he can play 30 times, 15 times, anyways, and like limiting it to 5, I really don't feel like it increases the novelty without engaging it in a different way, because I feel like it's just more of a thing where, like, when Tavern Brawl first came out, this was the first time we got to see people do this type of thing ever, period, really. So it was just extremely exciting. I feel like even if they had limited it and they brought it back this time, it would still have lost like a big portion of its novelty.
Oh, you think
even
so?
if it had been like a limited number.
I think, I mean, what it was cool about the first time around with the 5 is that there are some big streamers that are good players that didn't even get 12. And then there was these other people that did get 12 that are a little bit less notable that got some attention because of it. I mean, shit, I got 12 wins, right? And I got a little bit more attention too just because of that. And I think once they did unlimited, everybody was getting 12 wins at that point, and it was just like no big deal. Getting 12 wins should have been, like something that was lauded, because whether it was luck or whether it was just literally because you're just so good or whatever. I mean, it would have been fun to be able to put a list of the 12 the 12 win winners and not have it be like 5,000 people or 1,000 people or something like that. Because when I got it, I was like, oh man, that was so cool. I got it, after the second or third run. But then I was just like, oh, it's not that big a deal anymore because literally everybody has gotten it now at this point. So, it's just like that thread that we see at number 1. Why is that thread even number 1 right now, guys? That thread's number 1 because we want to see who gets to 12 like first, or who are the first 5 people that get 12. That sort of thing. And
you get 12 the most, I think. Is like,
maybe
honestly, anybody who gets 10 plus.
Sure.
I think the average is just a good
exactly.
idea. I think the
sociology
sociology
is the thing.
Yeah, I think if you want to start getting into like the sociology behind it, like you can go pretty deep and you can go for a long time. Like you want to talk about 12 wins. Well, if I limit to 5 wins, all of a sudden, or 5 runs, all of a sudden maybe people are playing more competitive decks throughout all the runs, and then maybe you're average, or you don't even get a 12 run because you're playing against more competitive opponents because they're playing better decks. Whereas if you have unlimited runs, then maybe people branch out and they play different decks or what have you, which would make it easier to get 12 wins if you were trying to be super competitive. Also, another factor that could go into like the sociology behind it would be like if you limit it to 5 runs, then people run out of runs and then you can get 12 wins. So then you feel good because you got 12 wins, but you weren't really going up against like the toughest competition.
Of the top. Yeah, there's exactly. A little bit of gaming involved. I understand that. It's more me putting my event org, cap on and just wanting, funner, just more epic things around the community instead of just, a general, statistical type of thing.
Yeah, I'm putting a bit of a negative Nancy here, but you can just compare it to Arena. Like when people played Arena back in the day, they were pumped to get 12 wins, but now we're just like,
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
I still think Arena's like, honestly, I believe that Arena is just the better format right now in Hearthstone. To me, it just feels much, much better than Constructed across the board. And I'm like, for all the repetitiveness of Arena, when you look at someone, you say, oh, they've gotten 12 wins a billion times. This is nothing new. I still think since you can actually get an average result on Arena, and you can't really get it in Constructed in the current Heroic Brawl format, it's easier to infer somebody's skill level from the data that we get from Arena than it is from the Heroic Brawl. I think there's not enough, I guess you said, engagement on the community side. I would really like a leaderboard at the end of one. Like, are they planning to release another Heroic Brawl with leaderboards? Maybe a month-long Heroic Brawl being opened up? Like, I don't know. Like, is there something that
I mean, it's just more, I think it's more we just have to request it. I mean, they have all the stats, and I think they could if they felt like we were interested in it. So. Yeah. With the Arena, that's kind of one of the things I'm going to be talking about in a second, is that I've decided to finally, get a chance to try and play Arena some, because I've been saying that for the longest time. It's like, I want to play Arena some. I just never have time. And so I decided to really give it a go and try to get better at Arena, because I'm terrible at Arena. Like, Constructed allows me to like get away with probably a lot of misplays that I do, and I feel like Arena doesn't. So I decided that, I'd probably do that on my stream or whatever. But we'll talk about that more in a second, though. But overall, yeah, Heroic Brawl, it's going to be fun. We'll see if it's cool tomorrow, after it's over, after the initial hype is over. But, I'm not sure if I'm going to do. I'll at least do it one time. I don't know if I'll do it multiple times or not. But I don't even know what deck I would play. It looks like I'm looking at this thread that's at the top, which part of me is like, okay, these threads are cool, but part of me are like, gosh, I wish they wouldn't show these threads because it's just like, total net decking. I mean, people are just going to totally net deck these things. And let's see. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like Firebat did it with Jade Druid. It looks like Dog did it with Questing Miracle Rogue. So we're seeing some across the board. Who else? Another 12 here. Sidonia did it with Aggro Pirate Warrior. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, Tyler went 0-3 with Aggro Pirate, right? Like,
yeah,
just
like,
compute
like
that
luck,
for a second.
Man.
It's like the variance on those decks is so massive. It's like when somebody goes 12-0 with Jade Druid. You're like, did you draw Wild Growth every game? Yep. Okay. Yep.
That's true.
All right.
I like how Sidonia. I think he tweeted.
I mean,
I went 12-2. I drew patches twice.
Okay.
I mean, that's a little bit. That's a little bit disingenuous.
I know.
Of course it is. I'm just being facetious at this point. It's just one of those things where these players are like the guys that get 12 wins are just very solid across the board.
I mean, if you queue up Pirate Warrior and you 0-3 and you're a good player, like it's you had to get bad matchups and you had to get unlucky, like because the Pirate Warrior is such a strong deck in the meta right now. But
I mean, winning 12, it's you do have to be on a little bit of a higher end of the statistical matchups and everything. So that's kind of what it's all about. This heroic brawl is it has a lot to obviously if you're a better player, you're going to give your chance a better chance of being able to get that 12 out of 15 streak, but you can just run hot, I guess is all I'm trying to say, and pull it off. It's cool. It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be a reflection of like pure skill. It's like that's not what the point of this thing is anyway. Okay, anyways, that's the heroic brawl. Why don't we talk about global games, since that was that's a today thing too, right? I mean, they announced it today too, and let me show you the website too. You can vote for your favorite player or the player, not favorite player, the player that you want to represent your country. I'll word it like that, since it might not necessarily be. We don't necessarily want it to be just a popular contest, or some people don't want it to be. But yeah, so you can go here, and basically the way they have it split up is that you can go by region here, and under each region you actually have countries that you can go to. The interface is pretty good. It's just you really don't get a sense for how many countries are actually there.
The country part,
crazy.
I think, is done very poorly.
Oh, you think so?
I don't think it's very obvious to even know to click on that to scroll.
Fair enough.
Like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's right there, and like you just clicked on it, and it's so easy. ChanMan just did it, but
I think
it could be even.
ChanMan just did it. Yeah.
No, I think it could be more intuitive.
It could have been just. It could have been just top level. They could have.
It's not even very obvious that that's where you click to change it. Honestly, when you're looking at a full screen, like right now, you have a portion of your screen capped, but if you're looking at a full web page, it kind of blends in almost even. I think that would have been better on the side or bigger or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know. But
basically, there's 9 people per country, right? Unless some of them have less, but I think it's 9 per country.
9 per country.
You get to vote for the person that you want to represent your country. Which
you get to vote on one person, which I wish you could have voted on more. Just personally, I know some people no, I think it's better. Like you guys in particular, I think you guys think that the popular people will get even more votes because of that reason, but I don't know. For me, it's just like if 3 people represent, I'd like to just get to choose the 3 that I would like to have represented. But anyways, each of these pictures have funny descriptions from each of the players, and they have some vastly different quotes. I play to win. Some of them take it really, really serious, and some of them are like this. I hate pirates, but I like winning. So
I hate pirates, but I hate winning. Okay, sure.
No, I like winning. I hate pirates, but I like winning. From
okay, I see. Yeah. Not everybody's trying. The thing is, there's not much promo work that's done, right? Because this is the first time we hear about the event, right? The whole global games. That's the first most people hear about it, and they're told if you go vote, you get a card pack.
Yeah.
I think so. People go there for the card pack. They have no vested interest in following exactly what these people have done. Most of the player base. I'm not talking about the competitive scene and the podcasters and everything. Oh, there's a child in the background. I heard that. So yeah, most of the people who are invested in the scene kind of know the names that they see pop up, but a lot of people don't. And if that's the first exposure you have to these guys and you've not been told or offered anywhere to get hyped about it, then I think the promotion kind of fails, right? Like, for instance, somebody for, Canada, like most of the names on this list we know, but some of them are lesser known, right? Like somebody like Teebs, Someone like Monsanto, perhaps, that not everybody knows. Most of the competitive scene know him, but not everybody does. And so if he had been given a warning that say, hey, this is going to happen, you're going to be on the list, maybe they have time to make videos. Maybe they have time. Maybe there can be some,
Yeah, I agree.
People fighting for Reddit exposure just to get some attention, to get people on their side. Because as it stands,
it's possible.
It is a popularity contest, but it's starting very uneven right off the bat.
I agree.
Yeah, we discussed this prior. I kind of already voiced my opinion. Like, I love the global games. It's a great idea. As usual, I feel like the execution was leaving much to be desired and very rushed.
Yeah.
I feel like the players were notified that they were up for selection. Then they were notified that they were selected. And then they were told that it would be posted, but they weren't really given the exact date that it would be posted. And even if they had been given the exact date that had been posted, campaigning before people get to see the interface is a little less effective. So I definitely would have liked to see the people you could vote for being posted, and then a time period where those people can try to reach the public and get them to vote for them, instead of just, hey, come vote right now and get your pack. And then you go to the website and you're like, who do I know? Oh, dog, I like that guy.
That's pretty much what it, I feel like a lot of votes were probably that way today. And they had an opportunity to do exactly what you said, both of you guys, just campaigning, doing more of like what the Smash community has done, which has been, with the summit and everything. It's just some of those events where they literally allow the contestants, or not contestants, but the nominees.
Let's call them that. Yeah,
let's say nominees. They allow the nominees to make videos and to do these silly things. Like, some of them did the silliest things, and like crazy. I don't think they did eating contests, but things along those lines. And they were able to get the community just A, entertained, and B, they were able to campaign and get votes. And that could potentially have happened here too.
It doesn't just promote them either as getting in, it promotes your event. Like, if I do something crazy and I end up getting in, people are like, dang, and they watch the event.
Dang.
It's just like, I don't know. This seems like such a horrible way to do it this way. And the best part is, it hasn't come yet, but I bet people are going to be like, I voted and I still haven't got my pack yet.
This is so true. Give it 2 days. Give it 2 days.
Is China not on here?
I think it's in the Asia portion, isn't it? Unless they took it out.
Taiwan, and there's Hong Kong.
They probably have NetEase probably handles it themselves like everything else.
Yeah, I guess so. But
I'm not sure if it's there or not. But
maybe they are. But yeah, so the event is going to be. I mean, I'm sure the event's going to be fun and great. It's just, right now it'd be even nice if you could unvote, but I don't know. Maybe they have this tally, this vote tally that just keeps going. But once you vote once, this is just PSA. Like, once you vote, it's locked in. You can't change it. It's kind of like what happened for HCT, the World Championship, the BlizzCon thing too. Once you pick your champion, you can't unpick that person and switch. Like, somebody convinces you otherwise, you can't change it. So make sure you know exactly who you want to be on your team before you lock it in. But okay, I think 3 of these guys, right? 3 of these guys get to be on the team with the anchor or the captain, whatever you want to call it. And so
he's not the captain. They made that very clear.
Anchor.
It's not a captain because it's not a team game.
Well, they're going to have a captain on the team, but it is not the anchor necessarily. Yeah, Blizzard's been really important. They want people to know that.
Yeah, which is that's true. That's true.
Which matters a lot.
It doesn't. I guess it matters a lot. And for
those
of you
being the captain instead of just being someone who's on the team is definitely a difference, I think.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. Like, it actually changes the dynamic within the group depending on who they select. There's oftentimes a person who you'd rather have as a leader, right? Some people are just more naturally inclined to take that role on.
Oh, so there will be a captain too, is what you're saying.
There will be afterwards.
There is a captain.
Just not, it's not selected on the basis of whether he was or wasn't the anchor. It might end up that people default to anchors become captains, but that's not what they have to do.
Well, I mean, just to clarify for folks too that don't remember, the anchor was selected based on HCT points. So, these were determined by that. These weren't determined by Blizzard or a popularity vote. So it makes sense. It makes sense that it wouldn't be selected. A captain should be selected by the members anyways. So
yeah, sure.
It makes sense. Okay, well, anyways, hopefully it's gonna end up being a great event. When is it, by the way? It's what's the date on this thing? They haven't told us, right?
You tell me.
Yeah, they haven't told us yet. I don't think they've announced the date.
I haven't seen any
yet.
info about the dates. All I know is you have to vote for people.
Yeah,
it just came up today, so
probably I would guess like May or something like that. Maybe early summer. That could be about.
Well, there are prelims in May. Well, we don't know exactly when yet, but they're middle of May.
Until, yeah.
I'll tell you 2 weeks beforehand.
Okay, good stuff.
If that.
All right, let's say another thing that happened in the community was Ben Brode, after being criticized for, or at least the team being criticized for not having a musical track, and it was more trolly than anything else.
It wasn't a very big criticism.
Yeah, it was more trolly
legit
than
criticism.
Else, yeah. They were saying, Ben, you should make a a music track for us or whatever. So much to everyone's surprise, Ben went home that night, or I don't know when, maybe a couple nights, and he ended up recording this rap video, which we all know at this point because this rap video went crazy viral on Reddit as well as just everywhere. And I mean, look at this Reddit thread. It's got 40. It's 83%. So it's got like it's like 50,000 upvotes. Okay, on this thing. So
yeah, it was top of front page.
Yep.
It did a lot.
It was an RL, like. It was, it was on, I think, our Hearthstone for like 2 days. that's how much momentum it had. But that's great. I think, it was unforeseen. I think Ben yesterday or the day before when he was on Streamer Showdown, he mentioned that, he was just jokingly made it and it was presented to the team. The team was like, release it, dude. He's like, really?
Well, it's funny because the day prior, I was speaking to him on Facebook. I asked him, Ben Bro, people have spoken. They want the video. And he told me, don't tell anyone yet. But tomorrow, I'm breaking the internet. And I'm like, oh my God, is this really happening? I had no idea they would actually release it. And I just freaked out.
That was cool,
I was like,
man.
okay. But I thought he would go for like a more, not rap. I expected some kind of musical. Right, he's got the voice to pull it off.
Have you seen his other rap videos?
Yeah,
no.
I have.
Should I?
They're like on his Facebook or something like that,
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But
how fantastic!
Anyways,
I'm a little disappointed by the backstory now. I was really hoping it was more like Ben Brode came home and he was scrolling through Reddit. And he was like,
well, maybe maybe he did that. I didn't get that part of the story.
And then
I
he
only
was
got the
just
part
like,
where he made it. Yeah.
And then he just went and grabbed, some wine, poured himself a glass, and just whipped out a notebook. And then it's really good. The rap is good.
He might have done that. All I'm telling you is that he recorded it, and then he brought it to the team just thinking that they would get a good laugh out of it. And then they said to release it.
That's the part where he brings it to the team. Because in the video, he's like, oh, I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
But he makes it seem like he was doing it all secretively. Now that I hear the backstory, it's a little...
But it wasn't secret at first, right? Like he made the video without anybody knowing about it, but then it became a matter of.
Come on, you can't.
Is PR lady okay with this? I should probably check.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The video is very good. And
the
remixes are also very good. What was your guys' favorite remix?
There's the Chinese one that came up that I posted on Twitter. That one's fantastic. There was so much effort.
Oh my God, there were so many remixes. I don't even have a favorite, to be honest. But there were like 50 remixes. Literally the days afterward, there was, half of the subreddit was remixes. There was one that was, there was one that was dubbed over another song. That was so
Gorillaz
right
at the
on.
beginning,
it was like so right on. Like a very popular song. Like
okay.
I can't remember what it was.
The first one that came out that I saw on the Reddit was Black and Yellow. But was Khalifa.
Oh yeah. I saw that one. That was good.
And I was like, okay, this is pretty solid. But then I played it.
That was true.
I played it, and then on for my girlfriend, she said to me, his voice would be really good over Feel Good incorporated by the Gorillaz. And then the next day, somebody did that. And then someone did it.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And he kind of had that rap style, the Gorillaz.
Actually, I think it was that one. I think it was that one. I think it was the Feel Good Incorporated one. That was
where he laughs at the beginning, has the Ben Brode laugh at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it goes into the Gorilla song. Yeah, the rap style is very really Gorilla-ish too. I wouldn't be surprised if like Ben himself is a fan. And kind of mimics
he's into music, man. Like Ben's really into music, and that was really cool. I think it was hugely successful for just promoting the expansion. And I don't know, this is the kind of thing that we just need, as a community, just more fun things coming out from Ben.
It's not even like people need to acknowledge after this, like Ben Brode is not the reason Hearthstone is the game that it is right now. Like Ben Brode just took, we talked about this on the last show, right? But Ben Brode just got control or the reins of the direction of the game, right? And there was so much hate just flowing in his direction for a while on Reddit. It was absurd. And when you see stuff like that come out, you must to a certain extent acknowledge that this guy surely has nothing but the best intentions for the game. Like this is such a random do. Like how many? Okay, imagine that, right? Riot Games, like
here we go.
Gabe has to do that tomorrow for Steam, right? Gabe has to do that. Valve just has to come out with a rap. Does he do it? Of course not. He could have just said, fuck this, fuck this
Gabe.
Reddit thread. No, Ben Brode says, how is this so highly upvoted? I guess I'm doing a rap video. Like, that's just the train of thought that went with it. You just can't help but love the guy.
I mean, he was on Streamer Showdown this week with us, just being silly and funny. And I mean, Crip gave him the, give him a hard time too. Savage, yeah. I mean, and he was able to take it in, just in stride and have a good time with it. So I think lately, to your point, Noxious, the last couple months, they've all been more accessible. Ben's been more accessible. Mike, you're seeing Mike like on interviews and Dean on interviews and everybody, just Peter on everywhere right now. And what Yangwu, yesterday with even the Angry Chicken. So we're seeing them out there a lot more. Maybe it's just because it's right before an expansion. I don't know, but it's good to see. It's just good for the community. Now, of course, they need to do stuff and not just, be places and say stuff, but it's still something that's necessary.
It's super important. It's not like Noxious said, other people wouldn't have done this. Like, I don't know who Gabe Valve is, but, Riot Games, you wouldn't have seen this. Yeah. And to even go less within the realm of gaming, take, for example, like, let's say President Obama even, like, he did a lot of stuff like this where he went and ate and then they took pictures and stuff. And even though he's a busy person and you're like, well, he's busy, you should be doing other stuff. Like, it does a lot for morale within the community and people in general to see somebody who, is supposed to be busy and is supposed to be at the top, just enjoying themselves and doing something that's
showing up on Fallon or something like that, right? Yeah,
exactly. Like showing up on a talk show or something. That does a lot for the morale, more so than even like saying, like writing a speech and giving it, even no matter what the words are, something like that has an effect that you can't reach just by, speaking logically or something.
Yeah. So I think it's been positive for the team for sure, for Team 5 and just, just community's relationship with the team. So hopefully they keep at it. And I mean, again, like, it was really appreciative of the team for us being able to have them on Streamer Showdown. That was a lot of fun. Okay, I think that's it for the news for this week. Why don't we talk about, maybe just get into some decks. It's been a while since we actually talked about decks on the show, so I figured we'd talk at least about one deck that I know the Rat's familiar with, and Dwayne actually brought it to me maybe late last week, and said, like, yeah, this deck that I've been doing well with, and Finja's been a big topic for the last few weeks now, just in terms of that it was good and people were running it towards the end of the season. And, I've definitely had some experience with it in the past, but I hadn't run it in a while. So this was, this rogue deck was a little bit newer for me, given that I had Curator